Hi students! Okay, so today we are going to learn about different planets in our solar system and how they orbit the sun. First, we're going to start off with some learning objectives like I can statements. So the first one is I can identify each planet by their special characteristics. Second one is I know how planets orbit around the sun. And the third one is I understand the idea of planets in our solar system. Alright, to start off today's class, we are going to watch a Bill Nye video. Alright, you can pause that, Ava.
Pick to live
with one another in one solar system
and have their lives taped.
Find out what happened
And it's stop being a mystery
and start being real. The real world.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye
the Science Guy.
Science rules. Inertia is a property of matter. T-7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Brought to you by a grant from the Copernicus Foundation, putting the Earth in its place since 1543.
I'm talking to you from the only place we know of where there are living things like you and me. You're alive, right? That's because you're living on the planet Earth. Altogether, there are 9 planets. They all go around the sun in the same direction. If we could get way above the Earth's North Pole, we'd see that they all go this way, the opposite of the way a clock turns, what we call counterclockwise. They're all part of what we call the solar system. Now take a look at this. It's a picture of the sun on this television. It's part of our solar system model of science. And right here is the first planet, Mercury.
Mercury. The second smallest planet. It has no moons, but plenty of heavy metal.
It's like a hot rock. As we move away from the sun, we'll pass the other planets. There's Venus.
Venus. A real hothouse of value. Also no moons, but plenty of toxic yellow clouds.
Because of its thick atmosphere, it's the hottest planet in the solar system. And there's our planet, the Earth.
Earth. 1 moon, protective atmosphere, and liquid water. Need I say more?
And here's Mars.
Mars. Big, red, and dead. 2 moons and full of iron oxide.
Somewhat cooler than the Earth. And out here farther is a very large ball of gas we call the planet Jupiter.
Jupiter. The largest planet of them all. 16 moons and 1 big red spot.
And if we keep going, we'll pass another giant ball of gas, Saturn. It's the one with the big flat rings.
Saturn. Rings, and at least 18 moons.
Now farther and farther from the sun, we pass Uranus, which has very thin rings.
Uranus. The sideways planet, blue with over 14 moons and recently discovered rings.
Out farther, Neptune.
Neptune. 8 moons and cold.
And finally, way out here is the very small planet, Pluto.
Pluto. Last and smallest planet with 1 moon. The end. Or is it?
Now out here, it's very cold.
Alright, did you guys like the video?
Yeah.
Alright, perfect. Alright, so the first planet we have is Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. It is also one of the smallest planets. It has a molten core, so like the outside is all rocks, but in the middle of the planet, it's all molten lava. And then 1 year of Mercury is only 88 days long. So that's like, for us, it's like January 1st to March 30th, which is so crazy, right?
Yeah.
The next planet we have is Venus. Venus is the second planet from the sun. It's close in size and close in features to the Earth, so it's considered the Earth's twin. And then Venus is the brightest object in the sky. So like sometimes if you look in the sky at night and you see like the bright moon, close to the moon you'll see like this brightest star out there, and maybe that's Venus. You never know. Alright, the next planet we have is Earth. Earth is where we live. It is the 3rd closest planet to the sun. And it's so crazy to think about, but Earth is the only planet that has life on it right now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's insane, right? Next we have Mars. Oops. Alright, stop it. Alright, next we have Mars. Mars is the 4th planet from the sun. It's the only planet that has like this red color to it, and that's because of the red dust that's all over on Mars. And then Mars is the only planet that humans have really touched down on, besides like obviously Earth where we live, but we have gotten astronauts to Mars recently, which is pretty awesome. And then the 5th planet from the sun is Jupiter. Jupiter is also known as its largest planet, and it is 11 times the size of Earth. It's just a huge ball of gas. And one day on Jupiter, like one day on Earth is 24 hours, but one day on Jupiter is only 10 hours. Yeah, I know. I could tell by your facial expressions, it's crazy. And then Jupiter orbits the sun in 11 Earth years. So it takes 11 years on Earth for Jupiter to orbit the sun. And then next we have Saturn. If our picture wants to show up, there it is. Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. It has 7 rings close to it, and they're pretty thick rings. And the rings aren't even like a solid. They are made up of floating rocks, dust, and ice. So there's just big rocks just floating around Saturn in a ring formation. It is the 2nd largest planet, and Saturn is made up completely of gas, so you aren't able to even stand on it. If you try to stand on Saturn, you just fall right through. Alright, next is Uranus. It is the 7th planet in our solar system. It is one of the coldest planets on our solar system. You have to think it's so far away from the sun that everything is going to be so cold, right? And then there's also 13 rings on Uranus. But they're not as thick as Saturn's. They're very thin, and they're way further out than they are on Saturn's. And the last actual planet in our solar system is Neptune. It's the furthest from the sun, and it takes 167 Earth years for Neptune to fully go around the sun. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And then Neptune is known for the very bright blue color it has. The last planet is actually no longer considered a planet. It's called a dwarf planet because it's so small. It is Pluto, and it's way further out than it is on Neptune. Next, we are going to do an orbit activity. So I'm going to pass out some papers, and we're going to learn how the different planets orbit the sun. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, students. So I'm going to pass you out some papers. So when you come up here, I'm going to give you a planet, and you have to tell me a special characteristic about your planet, okay? All right, Ava, come on up. All right, Miss Ava, you have Mars. Can you tell me something special about Mars?
Mars is red.
Perfect. Here you go. Now go sit back down. All right, Miss Cambry, you're next. Cambry, you have Saturn. Can you tell me something special about Saturn?
Saturn has 7 rings.
Good job. All right, go sit back down. And last, we have Mr. Braxton. Come here, Braxton. All right, can you tell me something special about your planet Neptune?
Blue. That's blue.
That's blue. Good job. All right. Now, students, you're going to come up in this order. So, Ava, since you have Mars, you're closest to the sun. So, you're going to stand right here, okay? You're going to stand closest to me. And then next is Cambry. Cambry, can you stand over here behind Ava? Perfect. Come a little closer. So, Braxton has some room behind you. Closer. There you go. And then Braxton, come stand over here by this chair. Since Neptune is furthest away from the sun, you're going to be way far out. All right. So now they're all here. We're going to orbit in a big circle. I have the sun, right? Yes, I have the sun. So all of you are going to hold up your papers, and you're going to make giant circles around me, okay? Braxton, you have to stay furthest out, remember? Yep. All right, good job. All right, perfect. Good job, yes. All right, you can stop. From this activity, you will learn that each planet goes around in big circles of the sun. Now, every time the planet makes one full circle, that counts for 1 year. So, Braxton, since you have a planet that's furthest away, you will take longer to get fully around the sun than other planets. So you have more years to get around the planet, or to around the sun. All right, thank you very much, students. You can go sit back down.